Hello and welcome back to another installment of my Stuffy Taxidermy. Today I'm taking this adorable little bear and this plaque that I've already prepped, and I'm gonna turn this into the sweetest little nursery taxidermy. A friend from work actually found out that I do these crafts and she asked if I would make one for her daughter's nursery, and of course I can't refuse. So I've already done a lot of the prep work, but this is so simple. You just paint and Mod Podge the fabric on. I do think I'm gonna play around with some like paper mache. I would love to hang from this, like maybe get little like eyelets and hang little designs, maybe sun, moon, stars, we'll see, but that is what is on today's to-do list. Let's do it.
And here's just a little flashback to America's Thrift Store, my go-to spot to find all sorts of stuffed animals. This little Duffy the Disney bear was $3. So this is the fun part. I'm pulling from my bin. I grabbed all the like pastel blues, pinks, and now I'm just trying to figure out what looks best. I'm loving this combination. And I think I want to make them hold something, but I don't know what that something is yet. As always, this DIY starts like the rest of them. After you prep and paint your plaque, I always like to add a little trim of ribbon. So that's what I'm doing here using hot glue. You could also use E6000. And honestly, this DIY was just a great little exercise in trying out some fun trends. So I do paper mache, some stars and a moon, and I also make a felt crown, both of which I've seen all over Instagram and Facebook.
Cute. I'm going to cut very low on him because again, I don't know how much I want to use, and I want to make sure I have enough fabric to work with. So just taking off his little butt and then take all this out. Wow. So essentially I want it to look almost like, oh my God, it's like perfect. I want my little bear, when he's in the frame, to be holding the moon. So this actually this might be too big, but let's try it. Let's try that. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so I almost want him to hold it like,
I am taking the little slits of cardboard that I made and I'm folding them over each side of the moon to build out like a 3D structure for the moon itself.
there we go. Help keep the shape. This next one, it goes around this side. So that is what it's looking like.
And I just repeated this process until I had as many ribs as I needed along the moon to make it 3D.
Very nice. I am impatient, so I've already started just taping around just because I want to see if this is giving the vision that I want it to give, and it is. Oh my gosh, look how cute. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
And I must shout out Earth of All Trades on Instagram. Her page is what inspired me to try out a paper mache moon. She makes such beautiful pieces. Check her out. I've linked her Instagram below. And the polyfill is just like literally to help fill in the gaps. Some people use like newspaper. I don't have any. Some people I've seen use like crumpled up paper. But those projects are much bigger, which is why I thought I would just go with some polyfill. To put this paper mache portion of the craft into layman's terms, to put it simply, you cut out a piece of cardboard in the shape of a moon or star. Then you wrap it in little cardboard ribs to build the 3D shape. Fill it with polyfill just to keep a shape. And then you wrap it up with, in my case, frog tape. This is the base of your moon. Okay, this is the first half. It is looking very good. And this is probably taking me over like a half hour, but it'll all be worth it for our little bear to be holding the moon. Oh my God, it's gonna be so cute. Now, if you wanna make stars like I did, you just repeat the process, but with the little stars. I made a teeny tiny star, which is what you see here, to hang from the crescent of the moon. And then I made 3 bigger ones to hang beneath the piece as a whole. So I skipped the ribbed pieces of cardboard and skipped the polyfill and just built up these little stars with some frog tape. So I added like a little crumpled piece in the center to make them kind of 3D, and then just wrapped them all up. I grabbed these little eyelets from, I think, the jewelry section of the craft store, and essentially I literally just poked a hole into all of these little beginnings of the paper mache moon and stars so I can effectively hang them from this piece. So I'm doing a little tiny star that hangs from the crescent moon. So there's this little eyelet, and then here I'm just dry fitting the eyelets onto the bigger stars. Now, I use the E6000, as you can see here, just to add a dab of glue so then they don't fall out. But essentially these are going to be so lightweight, I assume that's not going to be a problem. From there, I am making a little Mod Podge paper mache slurry. So instead of looking up like recipes or anything, I just watered down some Mod Podge, and I took little strips of this very lightweight paper that I have. It's the paper I actually use for the taxidermy animals' hats if they get little, birthday hats. And I am just letting them soak for a few minutes and wrapping them around the frog tape. This is just another layer that you can add to really potentially smooth out the design. Looking back, I probably could have skipped this and went straight to the lightweight spackle, but again, we live and we learn. It's my first time doing paper mache as an adult. So yeah, and then I moved on to the stars, and you can see I'm just wrapping them just to cover all of the frog tape with paper. And I repeated this for all 4 stars. Although they did not need it, I gave all of my stars and the moon an entire day to dry. It's Mod Podge in water, so it really probably only took maybe half a day, but I didn't want to rush it because the next step that I'm going to add is actually lightweight spackle. So I have lightweight spackle from a different DIY that I did a couple years ago to make a Christmas village, and I used the lightweight spackle as the snow. So I thought it might be a really good way to put a layer on top of the paper just to smooth everything out even more so. So again, I really didn't look up any how-to on paper mache. I just used what I had in the house, and I'm kind of winging it. So just take that with a grain of salt as you watch this video, and if you potentially try to repeat it for yourself. But look at how cute those stars look. So moving on to the last one here, again, it's just the same thing. Like you repeat it 5 times. I don't recommend making too many because it was kind of getting boring toward the end. Like, all right, already, let's move on to the next step. Speaking of the next step, so here they are all paper mache, and here they are the next day. So you can see it got really opaque as the color filled in. They are super bumpy, but that's okay. So it makes them homemade. And now it is time for the lightweight spackle. Not without first a quick dry fit. Look at how cute. I really don't like doing Beanie Baby or Stuffie taxidermy on animals that sit upright, and that's what this bear does. So whenever I do it, I make them hold something, because I don't know, by keeping their arms, it looks more natural. So that is how I came by the moon and the stars. It's a nursery, and the friend of mine, Callie, she sent some photos. The nursery has hot air balloons and kites and just very like old-timey storybook feel. So that's why I thought adding some moons and stars would be perfect. As you can see, I'm using the lightweight spackle actually just to make some pointier, more curved ends for the moon. I thought that was a really nice touch. And I do give the moon and the stars an entire day. Like I was not rushing it. I gave them 24 hours to completely dry. And you can see I'm just like kind of mushing it all together, smoothing it out with my fingers. And my intent is to sand them once they're totally dry, just to really get out all of the bumps, or as many as I can. And then I can move on to painting them and then gluing it all together, which is so exciting. So this is what the moon turned out like. You got to keep in mind when you're doing this to keep the eyelets from getting a bunch of spackle in them. And then the stars were super easy. I literally just had to put a mound of the lightweight spackle on top of them, and you can see I'm using my fingers just to blend and smooth everything out. So repeated that 4 times because I have 4 stars. As you can see, I'm finishing up the little tiny one that will go in the moon's crescent, and then just repeated the process. So a lot of repeating here on this paper mache portion, but truly, like for a nursery, I just thought this would just be the cutest little touch. And here is my little drying rack. Look at how cute. So these are pretty soft still. It's only been about an hour. And this is lightweight spackle. And what I plan to do is just gently sand it down once they are dry, then paint, and then I can attach them. Here I am sanding my life away to get this moon and these stars as polished looking as possible. And while I do a decent job, I do need to experiment. I did the same thing with this DIY when I used the lightweight spackle like 3 years ago. It always is far more bumpy than I want. So what I need to do is experiment with like maybe including a little bit of watered down spackle just to really do a smooth out layer at the top. I mean, this is looking much better, don't get me wrong, but there are some bumps that I really couldn't get rid of that I greatly wish that I could. I mean, it's paper mache, so it's supposed to be bumpy to a certain degree. I don't know. I guess I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my crafts. But so here I am. This is 120 grit sandpaper, nothing too crazy. And maybe that was my problem. Maybe I should have gone even more grittier with my sandpaper. But I'm sanding each one. The stars came out pretty smooth. It was really just the moon that I had issue with. And I just cut out a piece and wrapped around my finger. It's such like minute detail work that I was nervous I was going to mess it up. But look at how cute that is. So then we move on to painting. This is regular acrylic white and yellow paint. I just mix it together and then put it on. And I'll be honest, I didn't even wipe off the like sanded off spackle. Like I just couldn't be bothered. So it actually made for a cute little kind of like gritty texture. So do with that what you will. And I don't think I actually have any footage of this, but I did spray paint all the stars and the moon with this like iridescent glitter spray paint that I have. And I did that after the acrylic paint dried, like 20 minutes later. Now it's time to put it all together. Okay, we are back in my office. This is looking fantastic. Now it is time to put the bear onto this while we wait for the moon and the stars to dry. As always, I like to cut off excess fabric from the back of the stuffed animals or beanie babies that I'm working with. It ends up just making it a cleaner adhesion to the plaque. I filled little Duffy the bear back up with some polyfill and started to take some of the fabric and fold it into itself. At this point, it's time to adhere him to the plaque. So I put down some hot glue along the edges of him, and then I'm just holding him down. It's crazy how strong hot glue is when it comes to fabric like stuffed animals. So I am just covering his backside, as you can see, and I'll be pressing him down into the plaque, and I end up repeating it for the head as well. Truly, I'm trying to make it look like this bear is like sticking out of a frame. That's my intent with all these taxidermies. And this is what I'm talking about how, like, if I just cut his head off, you see that? It would just, like, how do you cover that, you know? So that's why I like to keep the torso and the arms. And then when I keep the torso and the arms, I obviously need to have them doing something to make it look purposeful. So that's hence the moon. Now I'm using this little roll of ribbon for the circumference of my felt crown. So here's the second thing that I'm doing that's pretty popular online nowadays is little felt crowns. I mostly see women doing it for decoration for the child's birthday. So like little, like, you know, Timmy turns 2 and he gets a little felt crown. Well, my little bear it's his rebirth as a taxidermy plaque, so he is getting a crown himself. So I am the most type B creative, I swear. So I'm literally just drawing out a crown shape, and then I folded the paper in half and then repeated it on the other side. Then I just hooked it up to the felt that I folded over, and I did that using these little clips that I have for my sewing projects, and I'm just cutting it out. Like it's truly not done to any degreed measurement whatsoever. You can see I'm putting the hot glue on the inside, and I'm going to fold it over itself. Just know wherever you put hot glue, if you want to go back and sew anything, it's not going to happen, baby. So be very light with your hot glue. I did not put it at the edges of the felt, and that's because I'm pressing these together. And I don't actually think I have any footage of it, but I did end up sewing along the edge of the crown, just a cute little like single stitch just to make it look that much more whimsical. So I used hot glue to glue the ends of the crown together. And then I'm covering up the seam with some ribbon. So, and then just to make it look a little discreet, I copied that design across all of the little points on the crown itself. So this was really fun. I've not done this before. As you can see, I added a couple pom-poms, and then now it's just me gluing it to his head. I just like to try, my goal with hot glue is to never make it visible. So I am always hot gluing very sparingly, pressing down, and it really doesn't take much to get it to stay. So from there, I moved from the crown to the collar, and I added this like iridescent white lace. And then on top of that, I'm adding this little like light blue, it's from the craft store from Hobby Lobby specifically, this little like ruffle trim. Every time I do this, I always glue the trim, the collar, to the plaque itself on the back side of the bear or of the stuffed animal, because it just helps keep them upright. Here we go. So this necklace that I got from Hobby Lobby has this little section of chain for making it tighter. So I'm just going to use these, and then I have bigger jump rings. Oh my gosh, perfect. So that's one. Now, I think it's only going to be like literally a couple, because it needs to be super. Why don't I just do the jump? I think Audrey.
freaking cute is that? And then I think I'm just gonna use 3 equal lengths because I cannot be bothered, truly. Okay, so I have hung our little bear up, and I am going to use the hot glue to attach this moon. I'm gonna have it in front of this one. It's the moment of truth.
It looks good.
Cute. I wish it wasn't so bumpy, but
Bumpy.
the moon.
Oh.
But like it's
fine.
paper mache. That's part of it.
It's all part of the.
That's what makes it handmade. I need to his head is like. Oh my god, he's so adorable. Much better. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I am going to close all these jump rings, and then I'm going to give you the final reveal. And that is how you make the most adorable variant of the global phenomenon that is stuffy taxidermy. I'm just having the best time taking all of these different Beanie Babies and stuffed animals and really figuring out new and creative ways to turn them into taxidermy. It's just been the most fun. Once again, I have to shout out Earth of All Trades. Ellery, is who inspired me to incorporate paper mache into this DIY. I didn't do it exactly the way that she does it, just because I was using what I had on hand, but truly such a cool creator. I highly, highly recommend following her, and you can even purchase some of her pieces, which is really cool. Speaking of Instagram, you can follow me over there at Audrey Gaynier, as well as I'm on Threads, Substack, and Facebook, all under the same at Audrey Gaynier, no space. Speaking of Substack, like I said earlier in this video, link in the description to my full step-by-step written instruction on how to do this DIY. And if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I'm very close to 800 subscribers, so every single one counts, and I truly appreciate it. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.